She was phenomenal. Kimani was a helper. Like she was older than what she appeared to be. Like, you know how they say somebody has an old soul? She was that. She loved older music. She loved playing video games.
This case is one of the most horrific cases I ever heard. This is an absolute animal that came into our town.
Welcome or welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. Now, if you haven't checked out A Wicked World on Patreon yet, and you want to have access to over 50 exclusive videos with new ones being added each and every month, then make sure you do that using the link in the description box below. So the story I have for you today is about a teenage girl who went missing from her home in Ohio a little over a month ago. Sadly, she would be found deceased, and when she was, her body was in horrific condition. Even more horrifying was who had done this to her. This is the story of Kei'Mani Latigue. Kei'Mani Latigue was born on March 28, 2011 in Toledo, Ohio, to her mother Tiara Caiston and her father Darnell Jones, who also goes by Darnell Ogletree. She had 5 younger siblings and was said to be a sweet, smart, funny, loving, and kind young girl. Kei'Mani was currently in the 7th grade at Spring Elementary School, and she loved playing basketball. The 13-year-old had been living with her maternal grandmother, Dorothy Latigue, for the past 5.5 years, and she had obtained legal custody of Kei'Mani at the beginning of 2024. The two lived together in Dorothy's home, which was located in the 2000 block of Elm Street in Toledo. Prior to going to live with her grandmother, Kei'Mani had actually been raised by Dorothy's best friend, who was also her mother Tiara's godmother. This woman had been acting as the little girl's guardian since she was only 9 months old. It's said that Kei'Mani's mother was not in her life much, as she struggled with drug addiction. The girl's father, Darnell, had remained a part of her life and would often take her on weekends. Just days before Kei'Mani's 14th birthday on March 18, 2025, around 9:40 in the morning, Dorothy would arrive home from work to find her front door unlocked and her granddaughter gone. Kei'Mani had also left behind her keys and her glasses that her grandmother said she could not see without. Dorothy also noticed that a rug inside the home had been displaced and it smelled like gas, later noticing that the stove had been left on. Then, on the floor of the dining room, she found Kei'Mani's pajamas and underwear, which was rather odd to her because she said that the teen never changed in that part of the house. Concerned, the grandmother tried calling her granddaughter's cell phone, but it went straight to voicemail. So instead, she contacted Kei'Mani's school, trying to speak with her that way. However, she was told that she had never shown up that morning. So at that point, Dorothy decided it was time to contact the authorities and report her as missing.
Destination, not emergency.
Yes, I'd like to make a police report.
Okay, what's the address?
Elm Street.
Okay, what kind of report?
A missing person.
Okay, what's your name?
Mine or hers?
Yours?
Dorothy.
Okay, and who's
Latigue.
missing?
Kimani.
Is this your daughter or son?
This is my granddaughter.
Okay, do you have custody?
I do.
Okay, how old is she?
13.
How long ago she's been missing?
To the best of my understanding, she's just been missing this morning. And I called her school and went up to her school, and they said she's not there.
What school does she go to?
Spring.
Do you remember, did you see what she was wearing before she left?
No, she's usually going to school before I get home from work.
Okay. Is she black, white, or Hispanic?
She's black. She looks Hispanic.
Okay. And then what was her last name?
Latigue.
phone number?
419.
Okay, does she have a phone on her that you're aware of?
She does, and it's dead because it's going straight to voicemail.
All right, they'll be out then. They'll be out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, bye.
The search for the 13-year-old began right away. Friends, family, and community members also organized a search party, with her mother, Tiara, traveling all the way from Cleveland to join in.
I'd please be looking, because without y'all, I don't know that we have the manpower to do so. All forms of support help, whether it's a social media post, whether it's you hanging up a flyer, whether you just bringing up her name in conversation and making sure that people hear about her, it still makes a difference.
It would soon be discovered that Kei'Mani's father, Darnell, had been the last person to see her. 33-year-old Darnell Jones originally told police that he had brought his daughter Kimani to see her mother on the 15th. While there, they had a good time, playing video games and just hanging out. Then the next day on the 16th, he said that he returned her back to Dorothy's house. Later that same night, his daughter called him worried, saying that she believed someone was trying to break into the home. So Darnell, along with his cousin, Calope Jones Dixon, went over to the home and stayed there for about an hour. According to Darnell, they had left again around 12:30 in the morning, and his cousin had driven him straight back to his house on Willard Street. The thing is, Kimani had been reported as missing on the morning of the 18th, not on the morning of the 17th, so there's a large gap in his timeline. Dorothy even says in at least one interview that she had come home on Monday morning to discover that Kimani was gone. Monday morning would have been the 17th, not the 18th, the day that she had reported her to police as missing.
The teen has not been seen since Sunday evening after 10 p.m. Her grandmother says she came home from work and the door was unlocked.
It was Monday morning.
Okay.
And when I came home, she wasn't here. Of course, she was supposed to have been on her way to school, but according to the way that the house was set up, once I got here, because it was in complete disarray, she wasn't here. So I called the school so that I can talk to her, and they said that she wasn't there.
And according to Toledo Police's official report, the last time that Kimani was seen was on the 18th around 12:30 in the morning. This has created some serious confusion in the timeline of when the teen actually disappeared. Now, police also spoke with Darnell's cousin Calope to confirm his story. But the two men's accounts proved to be inconsistent, and on March 23rd, authorities filed a charge of abduction against Darnell and issued a warrant for his arrest. The following day, March 24th, police discovered video surveillance footage that had been taken near an abandoned home on Miami Street in Toledo. It showed Darnell's vehicle driving up to the house. Then he got out. It went inside. This was said to be shortly after Kimani had gone missing. So police went out to the location, and on the second floor of the dilapidated building, they found the body of 13-year-old Kimani. As the young girl had been removed from the abandoned house, those who had gathered, including her family, broke down into tears, clearly devastated that she had been found dead. But her grandmother, Dorothy, did not seem to shed a single tear. This immediately enraged onlookers, and they began to suspect that maybe Dorothy had something to do with her granddaughter's death. Not long after the discovery, the grandmother was also let out of her house in handcuffs, clearly leading everyone to believe that she'd been arrested in connection with Kimani's murder. However, Dorothy later publicly said that police had only done this because it was their best option to safely get her out of her home, which had been surrounded by people threatening her. Now, Kimani's body had been found in an absolutely horrific state. Her hands were missing, and her throat had been cut so severely that her head was almost decapitated. An autopsy would determine that she had in fact died from these multiple wounds to her neck, and she had also been RAPED'd. Her death was ruled a homicide. Once Kimani's body was discovered, authorities issued her father, Darnell, further charges, including murder and felonious assault. However, they did not know where he was at the time. Luckily, Darnell would be found just the following day, on March 25th, in Columbus. He had called up his live-in girlfriend, and she had then told police where he was located. When officers approached Darnell with a gun pointed towards him, he told them, "Kill me, just kill me." He then said he was going to shoot himself and reach towards his pocket. So police fired.
Come here, man.
Don't do it.
What's your name?
Just kill me.
Dude, show me your fucking hands right now.
Me, bro.
Pull your fucking hand out of your... I swear to God, pull your...
Shots fired. Shots fired. Dennis in a second. Get medic, go.
Don't fucking move.
Don't move. All right, suspect down. All you guys are okay.
Don't move. He's got 33 right there.
33 in his hands.
No, it's a walkie-talkie, but there are 33s right here. Don't you move or you're going to get shot, okay? All right? Got it. Yep.
That's him.
Somebody get out.
Somebody get on the main air. Get us a medic.
I'm working on it.
All right, on your belly. All right.
You got cuffs?
I got cuffs. There you go. Thank you, brother. We'll get you help, okay?
I just want to die, bro.
No, I know, but we can't allow that.
I can't.
All right.
And while he was shot multiple times, he would go on to make a full recovery. At the time of his arrest, authorities would find that Darnell had on him a gun and a walkie-talkie, which makes me wonder who had the other walkie-talkie.
I received a call we never want to get. One of our officers was involved in a police-involved shooting. Immediately went to scene to speak to our officer, one of our SWAT officers, a dedicated officer, highly trained, as you know, our Special Operations Bureau, longtime member. He's okay. Thank God he's okay. When I heard about this case, this was an individual wanted for homicide out of Toledo. I called my union counterpart in Toledo. I said, hey, good news, we have your guy. Your guy committed a murder, chose to fled to our town. I'll tell you right now, the wrong town to come to if you murder somebody. Our SWAT team will go out looking for you. This case is one of the most horrific cases I ever heard. This is a 14-year-old that was murdered, had her hands cut off, and her throat almost cut off. This is an absolute animal that came into our town. I understand some of your editors won't let you print the word animal or view the word animal. If people are more offended to how I'm describing him, how he treated that girl, that's on them, not on me. Again, I'm glad our officers are okay. Our SWAT are the best of the best. We just sent a message. You murder somebody, do not come to this town.
The father would end up admitting that he had taken Kimani against her will, then killed her with a knife. Darnell Jones is currently being held on charges of aggravated murder, RAPE, kidnapping, and use of a corpse. His bond was set at $4 million, and prosecutors have said that they intend on seeking the death penalty. Now, Darnell was no stranger to the law. He had actually been arrested multiple times in the past. Back in July of 2019, several neighbors had called police after they saw him hurling 2 televisions from his balcony. Shortly after, he was seen choking his wife at the time and threatening to throw her off the balcony as well. That evening, Darnell had been charged with a number of crimes, including DV and assault. The assault charge would end up being dismissed at the request of the prosecutor, and he pleaded no contest to the DV charge. He only ended up serving 11 days in jail. But Darnell's criminal history had started much before that, all the way back in 2011, actually, when he was only 19 years old. He had racked up charges for resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and arson. Then in 2015, he had gotten into an argument with another man when he had pulled out a gun and fired a few rounds at his feet before running off. Darnell was charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm because he was on probation at this time. He ended up going to jail for about 2 years and was released in early 2017. Then, in August of that same year, he was arrested yet again. This time after he had smashed a man's face in using a vehicle's alternator. Darnell had been charged with felonious assault, but only ended up receiving probation. Then in August of 2022, he was arrested yet again for being a felon in possession of a firearm, as well as disorderly conduct while intoxicated and possession of drug paraphernalia. For this, he had served 12 months in prison. So he had some pretty serious and violent offenses that he had been let off much too easily on. Just days prior to Darnell's arrest in relation to his daughter's murder on March 21st, Police had obtained a search warrant for his home. They believed he was concealing evidence there, as his living girlfriend had called detectives and informed them that she had seen Darnell remove the plastic mat from the back of his Ford Explorer, roll it up, and store it under the basement stairs. This was along with a pair of very muddy work boots, and Darnell had not been to work in some time. They also wanted to search his home because detectives had been informed by Dorothy that the pair of underwear she found in the dining room belonging to Kimani shortly after she went missing also had blood in them. And these underwear had disappeared shortly after Dorothy contacted Darnell, telling him just how concerning they were. While police would not find this piece of evidence inside Darnell's home, they did find the rubber truck mat rolled up underneath the basement stairs, along with a pair of muddy work boots. They also seized a pair of black sweatpants from the basement washing machine and a pair of gray and red shoes from the living room. While there, detectives noticed that Darnell had security cameras in his home, so they obtained search warrants for these as well. Now, prior to Darnell coming home and storing these items underneath the stairs, he had called up his girlfriend and asked her to unplug the cameras. She found this rather odd, and so decided to leave them on. Darnell also informed her that he did not want police finding out that he had not gotten back to the residence until around 5:30 in the morning on the day that Kimani had gone missing, even though he had previously told them that he had gone straight from Dorothy's house at 12:30 back to his house. An additional search warrant had been executed for Darnell's cousin's home, Calope. He was said to have been unable to provide investigators with an accurate timeline to his whereabouts on the night that Kei'Mani disappeared. However, he has yet to be charged in connection with her death. Detectives had also become aware of a phone call that had taken place between Darnell and his mother, Linda Ogletree, shortly after Kei'Mani had gone missing. In this call, Linda asks her son for more details about Kei'Mani's disappearance, saying that she knew some things but not all, and Darnell tells her that he'll get back to her with more details later. This was even though Linda had told authorities that she had not spoken to her son in the days since Kimani had disappeared, and that she knew nothing about the girl's disappearance. Now, another person whom police sought cell phone records from is named Lisa White, and it said that Lisa lived with Dorothy and Kimani. She would also typically watch the teen while the grandmother was at work, though Lisa claimed she had not been at the home the night that Kimani went missing, even though Dorothy had been working. Speaking of Dorothy, adding further suspicion to the grandmother was the fact that child services had been called at least 3 separate times prior to Kimani's death. These reports stated that Dorothy had used excessive physical discipline towards her granddaughter. But after an investigation was launched, it was determined that there was not enough evidence to remove her from the home. One of Kimani's former teachers said that she and others at the school had called child services a number of times, reporting visible cuts and bruises on the teenager that they believed were non-accidental. One of her teachers stated that Kimani would tell her when she was going over her father Darnell's for the weekend, but never said she had any problems with him. Several of Kimani's peers did state that the girl had expressed fears about going home to her grandmother's house, however. And another classmate said that Kimani had come to her one time with bruises all over her arms and told her that they were from her and her grandmother fighting. During an interview, Dorothy also made the odd comment that Kimani loved all her family, the ones who were allowed around her.
She loved older music. She loved playing video games. She loved the friends and family that she was allowed to be around.
When the reporter later questioned her about this, asking if there were actually family members that were not supposed to be around Kimani, Dorothy briefly answered, then said, "Next question."
Earlier you mentioned when you were talking about what Kimani was like, you had mentioned that when family members did come over, who were allowed around her. Can you expand on that? Is there family members that weren't allowed around her?
No, it's just not very many that came around, and those that did, she acted, as far as I'm concerned, she acted accordingly. She embraced all children, bad or good. Okay, next question.
In this interview, she additionally stated that she felt that Darnell had pre-planned his daughter's murder and had been grooming her.
As the police report mentions, Kimani was last seen with Darnell. You know, do you have any regrets of letting Kimani go with, as you're her guardian, do you have any regrets of letting Kimani go with Darnell?
I do, only because, like I said, I feel deceived. I feel like this was pre-planned. I feel like you meant to do this. I feel like you was grooming her.
When you say grooming her, is there things that you saw before this leading
No,
up?
I never saw anything out the ordinary. But when molesters decide to choose prey, they groom you first. So they give you gifts. They try and make you comfortable with them. They try and say little things to you that you and they can keep secret, and then eventually they pounce. And that's how I feel that how all of this is played out, I feel that's what happened.
Then Kei'Mani's cousin would post on Facebook, and she showed a series of text messages that she said Dorothy had sent to herself, trying to make it look like someone else had sent them. The messages were making it look like the person was asking for a ransom for Kei'Mani in the amount of $4,000. The cousin said that she has turned this evidence over to detectives, but there has been no official word on it as of yet. The Greater Toledo community created a makeshift memorial in Kei'Mani's honor at the abandoned house on Miami Street where her body was found. Those who loved her, along with complete strangers, would leave candles, stuffed animals, and messages of love and support. But then, on the morning of April 19th, 2025, the abandoned house would burn down. Police believe that it was arson, but have made no arrests in connection. They have also stated that it should not hinder their investigation into Kei'Mani's murder. After a dispute arose between the girl's grandmother Dorothy and her mother Tiara in regards to her funeral, a judge would decide that since Dorothy had legal custody of Kei'Mani at the time of her death, she would be the one to plan it. And just days later, on Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, a public memorial service was held for Kei'Mani Latigue at the West Toledo YMCA. A separate service was held for her family, and she was later cremated. Well, thank you for listening to Kei'Mani's story today. This poor girl grew up in complete chaos, and she should have had more adults in her life to protect her. But instead, one of those adults, her own father, viciously attacked and killed her. And I'm not convinced that her grandmother, Dorothy, has nothing to do with it. What do you think? Do you think that Darnell is the only one to blame for his daughter's murder? Or do you think there were others involved too? So, if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And turn on your notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon. So check it out on patreon.com/awickedworld. Or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims are never forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a story you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email to awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.